In this video, Reverse Polarity takes me, a beginner who's never modeled anything in Blender, down the path to model my first UGC item from scratch, a duck shoulder pal. This is what the final model looks like, which is a little inaccurate because this video just covers the modeling, so at the end of this video it actually looks like this. To get it the rest of the way, in the video after this, Madison Hatter 2 teaches me how to texture it, and then we publish it to Roblox together. This video on modeling is a bit long, so each step in the journey is its own chapter, so you can skip around to what interests you. Okay, so I am in studio with Reverse Polarity on a call, and he's gonna be teaching me how to make something for UGC for the first time. I don't really know how to use Blender. I don't really know where we're going with this or why we're even in studio to start with. But don't worry, I'm sure he's gonna make it all make sense. So Reverse Polarity, why are we here? What's going on?
Hi everybody. Starting in studio because if you want to make UGC, you can do it just in Blender with a blank canvas, but it's a lot easier to work with a figure already uploaded. I highly recommend, if you're going to start out, taking a dummy, positioning it in the world at a specific spot, and then exporting it. You can name it whatever, name it dummy, and that is the first step. Why is that important? Because your hat is going to be positioned on that guy. We can swap over to Blender now, and I already set it up for you. How nice am I?
How nice are you? All right, so now they're in Blender, and I have a screencast of what keys I'm pressing over here in the bottom left. And I basically know how to navigate around Blender, but not much more than that.
All right, yeah, well, I set this up for you so that you could have both dummies. You can always select either of them,
okay,
and move them off the top of each other.
Okay.
The hotkey for moving things is G. And then you can select which axis you move them on by hitting Y or X or Z.
Gotcha.
Which is neat. But if you move them back on top of each other, you can also just hit the H key to hide them, which is usually what I do if I'm working on things. Because sometimes you might want different dummies. You might be trying to fit it on different heads or whatever, your item.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Because the whole point of doing this is to have them at this specific world point in Blender. So you don't want to be moving them. So just hide them instead. Press H. All right, cool.
Yeah.
How do I unhide it?
Alt H is how you unhide things. And you can do that in edit mode, which we'll talk about in a moment. But yeah, the H key, super useful tool.
Got it. And then I do know that X is delete, so I just selected the
That's correct.
Camera and the light. Okay, we're here. Which one am I hiding first?
Well, that depends. Here's a question we haven't answered. What do you want to make?
Something duck themed. What if we made like
I don't understand where you got that idea from.
Crazy. What if we do like a little like shoulder pal?
Ah, little duck shoulder pal. I think we can manage that. All right. So the first thing you're gonna want to do is hide your dummies. We don't need them for now.
Okay.
We don't need
both of them.
Yeah, you can hide both.
All right.
I am going to walk you through the real simple first steps of how to make an item. This is how I started making items. There's tons of tutorials all over the place. So if you have any questions and you're trying to figure things out, there are tutorials for you online. Trust me, you can find them. For starters, you are going to want a cube. Okay. So Shift A in Blender is how you add objects. You want to go to Mesh, or you can search and hit Cube.
All right, got a cube.
There are two modifiers that I use for almost every model I make. Modifiers are really nifty tools. Which you can find on the right side of your screen. It's the little blue wrench.
Okay, blue wrench, got it.
Click on that panel. And you're going to want to add, to start, a subdivision surface modifier.
Oh, it's no longer a cube. Great.
No longer a cube. Yes, but if you hit the tab key, you'll go into edit mode.
Oh, there's the cube.
Edit mode is where you actually manipulate the mesh. If you select like one of the vertices and hit the G key. By the way, if you hit A, that selects everything, and if you hit A again, it deselects everything, or double tap A.
Gotcha.
Useful tool to know.
Cool.
So if you select one vertice, you can drag it around. It'll move that little shape. And so the subsurf modifier is making a smoother mesh for you to work on, just as sort of a an easier way than doing it, completely flat.
Gotcha.
That might not be something you want to do in every case, but in our case, we're making a duck, and a duck is a very organic shape. So for organic shapes, animals, things that are smoother, I usually use a subsurface modifier.
Gotcha. Subsurface modifier for smoother stuff.
Yes. Every duck starts with a head. So look, you've already got the head. That's you're 40% done, right?
We're here. Easy.
Yeah. Now, the subsurf modifier is essentially doing what we're about to do manually here.
Okay.
But if you select everything now and you right-click, you will have a context menu pop up.
Gotcha.
This has a lot of useful tools. I recommend checking these out. But what we're going to want to do right now is hit subdivide.
Okay. Yes. Now it's just a beveled cube.
Yeah. Now, if you go in the bottom left there, you can see there's a little drop down that popped up.
Oh, subdivide. Yeah.
That's your settings.
Okay.
If you hit if you take the smoothness, you select that bar and you just drag it to the right, you can make it even smoother.
Hey!
And now we've got an even smoother duck head.
All right. So the yellow parts here, is that the actual topology of for performance? But then the circle that was a cube is what it looks like. So this is a way to get smoother edges and more details, but at less computational cost.
It's actually more on your end. We're going to apply the modifiers by the end. So
interesting.
what you see in the middle is the final product. The things around it are the surface you're going to be manipulating.
Got it.
Basically what that means is if you want to see, if you go over to the subdivision modifier and you hover over it and you go back into object mode, which is tab, and you hit Control A on it,
it's gone.
it's gone because it's been applied. And you hit tab, well, now your object has the geometry.
Now look at the geometry. Okay. So it's more so for a convenience of editing, not so much a performance min-max. That's not even a thing right now.
Nope, not something you have to worry about. But we want it
Love
to be
that.
subdivided because it's easier to work with. So if you hit Control Z a couple times, you'll get your modifier back. By the way, Control Z is your friend in Blender. It's the best Control Z.
Yeah, but is there a limit to how much I can spam that Control Z?
I think by default it's 50 steps, but you can always change that in the preferences. I won't show you how to do that, but you can look it up.
Give yourself a bigger buffer. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think I have mine at 1,000. So. All right, so you have your duck head, but a duck isn't a good duck if it doesn't have a beak. So we want to get more shapes in here. And there's a couple of different ways you could do this. This is my first time thinking about making this duck, so...
You've never made a duck before in your
All
life.
right, so... I've made ducks many times. Just how do I want to make it?
I'm teasing you. Okay.
So, for our duck, we want to give it a mouth.
Okay.
One thing I should explain really quickly is you are currently manipulating vertices, which are the points. But you can manipulate other sections of the mesh. If you go to the top there, you see that there's a dot on a cube. If you select the one to the right of that, now you're in edge select mode. So you're selecting two vertices at the same time instead of one. And if you go even further, you can go into face select mode.
Very nice. And now it's the whole faces. Okay.
Now it's the whole faces, which is great. So what you want to do is select the two front faces on your duck.
Okay. How do I choose what's front?
So how do you know what the front is? If you have a numpad, you can hit the number keys for this. Okay. But I have it on good authority you don't have a numpad. So you can actually hit the tilde key.
Okay.
And that will pull up your view selection. So on the top left there is front. And so you hit that button and boom. Now you know what your front faces are.
Well, sorry, since we imported this from Studio, this means the front here in Blender is going to be the front also in Studio?
Correct, yeah. If you go back into object mode and unhide your dummies with Alt-H, you can even see that.
Ah!
Whoa. Did your Blender just crash?
No. I did Control H, which was minimize.
Oh, I didn't know that was hot. Now, select the bottom two faces there on the front. Shift and left click will select them both.
Gotcha.
So you can select multiple things that way.
Okay.
We're going to want to extrude to make the beak. So you hit the E key.
Okay.
and that will start extruding it. Now, if you pull your mouse out, it'll start extruding it like down in that direction.
Yeah.
But we don't want it to go down so much. So if you don't want it to extrude in the direction you're pulling in, you can just hit the right mouse button, and that'll like snap it back into place. And then you can hit the G key and hit the Y key and pull the beak out.
Okay, that was a lot. Okay, so I'm pulling it and it's funky. So I'm gonna press the right mouse button, and then okay, and now I'm gonna press G.
Yep.
And now I'm gonna press Y.
Correct.
And now I'm gonna pull.
Now you're gonna pull, and that'll pull specifically on that axis, which is
okay.
Nice.
What did the right click do?
By default, when you extrude things, it will be extruding along the normals, essentially the direction that the mesh is facing. But since we want the duck beak to come straight out, we don't want that. So right-clicking just ends the movement operation.
Oh, okay. So it's like a soft Control Z. It's like, stop it, but we're still extruding.
Correct.
Okay. And then now I press...
Well, actually, interestingly, you've made a mistake. This is an important mistake that I made a lot when I was beginning.
Oh, I feel validated. Okay. I made an important mistake.
Yeah. You've made an important mistake. So you've actually accidentally extruded multiple times. If you zoom in on your mesh, you can actually see it looks a little, if you deselect your faces there with the A key, double tap. There you go.
Yeah.
You'll notice that your thing has a couple more thick lines. That's not looking
Yeah,
good.
that's
What
like
you've
where
done
I
is
tried to
you've
extrude.
you've accidentally extruded multiple times. So you don't want that. If you were to pull that out now, it's not going to look right. You're going to have problems. What you have right now is overlapping vertices. Now, the neat thing is, if you make this mistake, it's super easy to fix. All you have to do is if you hit A to select all of your faces again, and you hit the M key, that's the merge key. If you hit by distance, it'll get rid of any overlapping vertices.
Oh, just like that.
And it should have popped up somewhere on your screen to say, oh yeah,
66.
that there were a certain number of vertices merged.
So, and the way to not do this again is to only like try to get your extrude right the first time, and if you whiff it, Control Z, or at least just be mindful of how things are looking.
Yeah.
So at the end of the project, could I just do that at the end just in case?
You could.
Kind of like a catch-all.
The longer that those exist, the more problems you might run into.
Got it.
So I recommend not keeping those around.
So don't depend on it as backup, but you might get lucky. Okay. So
it's a good thing to pay attention to. You'll see when you have overlapping vertices because the lines will get real thick.
Okay. All right. So here's this. Right-click to stop. Press G. Press Y. And now I'm dragging it out along the Y-axis.
Correct.
There. And I'm going to left-click. And there it is.
Yeah, that's not a bad beak. It's looking a little lumpy, though. What we want to do is we want to add in an edge loop.
Okay.
This is essentially going to be a line that goes across the entire mesh.
Okay.
The hotkey for this is Control R.
Okay.
This is adding a ring loop. And you can, you have your mouse right there. You could do it wherever you want. But if you put it right in the beak, you'll have yourself a new line.
Oh, okay.
There.
Do I want to put it like right in the middle where it suggested, or do I drag it up or down?
I mean, a lot of things is up to your preference. I would just right-click to snap it to the middle.
Is this artistic
this is
freedom?
like when you extrude. Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Look at that. All right, cool. It's in the middle.
Yeah, it's getting there. All right.
So what's an edge loop? Just real quick. Like I did that. I got another line. Is this just another like handle to be able to interact with the underlying geometry? So
it's adding more geometry to your mesh, which gives you more, I suppose you could say, wiggle room to make artistic changes.
Perfect. We love artistic changes. All right.
Now, do you like your ducks to be able to quack?
Optional. Yes.
Optional? I think your duck would look better if it could quack. But right now, there's no the beak is just like a solid thing.
Yeah.
So what you can do is in edge select mode, which you have selected already, which is great. If you select the front two edges of the edge loop we just put in.
Okay. Shift clicking, yeah. Okay.
Shift click, yeah. And then you hit the V key. That is how you rip. Faces.
Brutal!
And you just drag that down.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Wait. So
Hey.
does that effectively duplicate the amount of vertices at each, like at the end of each of the lines? So I just duplicated.
It's splitting your vertices. So So you now, yeah, it is in a way it is duplicating, but it's splitting across the line, and you'll notice it's still connected at that back area there.
Got it. Oh, I see that. Okay, because that's where I didn't select it, so they're still connected at that one. All right. So I pressed the middle mouse key to lock it to an axis, and I locked it to Z, which is straight down.
Yes, and again, that's one of those things. You don't want to move it X at all on the X-axis at all because that'll mess up mirroring for later. But yeah, you can position it on the Z or Y-axis however you think looks best.
Are we like? Oh my.
If you think that looks best, sometimes
artistic freedom.
Now, there's an important setting that is not on by default here that you should turn on for your sake.
Okay.
Basically, in the Roblox engine and in most engines, these faces are going to be facing outwards. You have your faces facing one direction. The back of those faces won't exist in the engine. Okay. For whatever reason, by default, Roblox doesn't have this setting on. But if you go to the top right of your screen there, you see these little spheres.
Yeah.
And there's a little arrow to the right of those spheres. If you click on that, under options, there's this thing called back face culling. You're going to want to check that. The first time I made a mesh, I didn't know what normals were. I didn't know about any of this stuff, and I kept exporting items. Well, at the time, they were just meshes. And I couldn't see them, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't see them. They looked all weird. It's because I didn't have backface culling set on Blender, and I had no idea that if you look into the mouth of your duck, there's nothing in there. And I had all mine flipped around. It was all weird. I was trying to make a model I wasn't, skilled enough to make.
Got it. And this is mirroring what Studio will see, like the inside of
Correct.
the duck.
If you were to export this right now, it would look just like this, including the missing stuff in the mouth. So we wanna close off your duck's mouth to the void.
Okay. Excellent.
But if you didn't turn on backface culling, you might not actually see that.
Got it. So this is just getting you some parity, so you can know what to expect when you import it back into Studio.
Correct. Yes, and you don't want to have, your faces might get flipped around in a weird way, and if you don't have backface culling on, you would never know.
Gotcha.
So it's important to have on.
Nice.
So why don't we go ahead and seal up that mouth,
Okay.
because we don't want it hanging open all the time. So what you're going to want to do is on the bottom beak, select the edge on the corner there, the one just to the right of that. And then do that on the other side as well. Select the other sides.
Okay.
And now, if you hit the F key with two edges selected, it will fill in that space.
Oh, look at that. Mine broke.
And you can do that. What? No, that looks right.
Really?
No, trust me, that's good. Yeah, it's the process. It looks a little weird until we get there.
Okay.
If you do that again,
press F
at
again?
the top.
Okay. Oh, the top one here.
Select the top fill and do that, and fill that in. Now you only have a little thing missing in the front. Basically, you'll notice that your faces don't have the right number of vertices to connect there, but we can give it the right number of vertices by adding in another edge loop, which is what we did before to get the mouth. So if you hit Control R and you angle your camera inside the mouth there, you can get...
Oh, inside the mouth?
Yeah.
Like surgery.
Yeah.
Is this it? Is that right?
No. You're trying to get the triangle in the mouth.
Not good at surgery.
Yeah, well, everyone starts somewhere.
Everyone starts somewhere at surgery.
There you go. There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
And
now you have
right click.
Your right click.
Okay.
Now you have the right number of vertices in the mouth to be able to connect it. So if you select the bottom vertice in that one,
I'm having a hard time
the
seeing.
one.
Can I change the view for this, like wireframe or like?
Yeah. So if you're having a hard time seeing, so there's two things that will help here. One is changing from you're in user. I like to be in perspective.
Okay.
Which I think you can do from. Oh, how do you do that in this with your hotkeys? Well, if you have a numpad, it's fine.
But you don't, so good luck.
You don't, and I don't know what it is on yours. So, actually, you can probably go to View.
Quick, to Google.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So, if you want to change your viewing perspective, if you go to your top bar there and you click on View, which is just to the right of your face select, there's a setting called perspective/orthographic.
Oh, numpad 5.
If you
there
do
it is.
that, that'll toggle between the two different views, which can help. Which is also numpad 5 if you have a numpad.
Okay.
And another thing that you can do is hit Control or just hit the Z button and go into wireframe,
Oh, now I can see a little bit better.
and that shows you things on the inside.
Hey.
And then if you hit Z again, you can go
There's
back to solid.
there's my strategic little surgery cut right here.
Exactly.
Right there. Okay. So I select it in the line mode, yeah?
You actually want to go to vertice
Vertice
mode,
mode.
and I would go back to solid
Okay.
for the time being. So what you're going to want to do is we need to merge the new line we have to the front of the beak. So select one of the internal vertices you just made. Okay, you already have one. And then select the top front, part of your beak.
Gotcha.
There. Yeah. And then
Oh, I see.
we're going to use the merge tool again. If you hit M, with just two of these selected, you could do by distance, but it won't do anything because they're not close enough. What you're going to want to do is do at first. Because you selected your beak the first time.
So
you can also do it center.
So does it matter if I so at first means it'll snap to the first vertice I select. At last means it'll merge at the last vertice I select. Does it matter if I select the new one on the inside or the one on the outside first? Like, which one are we wanting to merge it to? Are we bringing the mouth out or the like outside into the mouth?
Well, that's entirely up to you. Personally,
More artistic
on mine,
freedom.
I know you have all the freedom you want. Personally, I brought mine up to the front of the beak.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna do that now. It's gonna go inside. Okay.
Who knew there was so much artistic freedom in surgery?
Okay. Same thing on the bottom one?
Same thing on the bottom one. And now you have a duck beak.
I have a duck beak.
So the cool thing about the subdivision modifier here is it's really easy to manipulate large parts of your mesh if you want to, like, say, make that duck beak's a little wide. So if we go back into edit mode, you can do a lot of the work you need done by just adding edge loops. So if you hit Control R while hovering over your beak,
Okay.
you can add in an edge loop. So you add that there, and you can drag that along whichever way you want. But why don't you right click, because I want to show you. Let's say you set it in the middle and you decide, oh, I want that closer. You can move it with the G key, or if you have an edge loop selected, if you hit G twice, you can actually slide it like you would if you had just placed it.
Oh, that's so convenient. Okay, cool.
I like to drag mine back close to the geometry there, because with your subdivision modifier, it'll make it look a little more smooth.
Got it. And this is basically giving me a better crease from where the head and the beak connect. Oh, can I like overlap them on top of the other vertices? Like there's some vertices that are already here. Can I like make a new edge loop, slap it all the way over, and then like merge them together like we did?
You could.
Artistic freedom.
You'd end up with the same thing you started with, though.
Oh, really?
Well, I wouldn't drag them all the way to the end. I would just get close.
Just get close-ish.
Because that'll tell... Yeah, perfect.
Sure.
Just like that. And you can even do that with like the top of the head. You can add an edge loop there if you want to make that a little more round. And you can just play with things until you get the shape you want.
So I can, if I press S to scale, I can just go like...
Yeah, you can have a gigabrain duck.
I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
How can...
If you want your duck shoulder pal to have a big brain.
I mean, he's the brains of the whole operation. All right. So how can I select a whole edge loop? So if let's say I do want to do that. So I make it bigger. I balloon it up by pressing S. But then there's another edge loop over here. Instead of like going to like manually shift clicking all of these, can I just select an edge loop all at once?
So if it is a edge loop that is set up properly, you can hit Alt and do that. Now you'll notice on that one, because of the way it's set up, it won't actually select around the entire head. But that does help you select more. But if you go to the edge loop you just added, the one that you expanded, it will select all of them.
Oh,
if you
look at that.
hit and hold Alt
Okay.
and left click.
Big brain duck. It's very important that the duck's still cute though at the end of this. It's got to be a cute big brain duck.
Well, the good news is if you make it hideous, you can always go back and fix it.
That is true. But I'm really wanting to do it right the first time.
Isn't that the dream of every artist?
I mean, I have reverse polarity in a call. I feel like if I'm going to get it right, it should be now.
We are judging.
Spoiler.
No!
Yeah, we are judging it. Spoiler alert. You'll never get it right the first time, and that's the joy of being an artist. It's practicing and getting better that makes us great artists. At least other people great artists. I'm not a great artist. I don't know why you're listening to me.
Okay.
Hey ducks.
Hey, yeah.
I can't help but notice your duck doesn't have any eyes.
Yeah, let's do that. I've been tinkering with his big brain.
So, if you go into edit mode and go to face select mode, you're going to want to select the front two faces there that you have.
Gotcha.
And there's this nifty key. You can extrude this like we were doing before with the E key. You can also hit I, and that will inset the faces.
Okay.
So that'll bring them in like that. Yeah, perfect. Exactly. That's what you want.
Okay. That looks messy and wrong. Trust the process.
It does look messy and wrong, but don't worry. It'll get better.
Okay.
Part of that is because your duck has a very big brain, so it's not very small.
Okay.
But now is the point where we can extrude and bring that eye cavity back. So if you hit E and then Y, you can drag that back in.
Okay.
Now it's still look hideous. And the reason for that, if you go into wireframe with the Z key, you can see like it's all bent out of shape. That's not going to look very good for an eye. So if you want to flatten out things, you can hit the S key for scaling and the Y key, and then hit with your numbers. You can type in any number. So if you hit 10, it'll scale it by 10.
Oh shit.
But if you hit backspace on that, you can set it to 0 and it'll make it flat.
Okay. So S Y 0. Look at that.
And now it's nice and flat. And if you go back out of wireframe mode, it'll look kind of like an eye. But we ain't got no eyeball yet, so we extrude again to add more geometry. And pull that forward.
Uh-oh, I deselected to look at my duck,
deselect.
and now I can't find it. Do I go into wireframe? Oh, okay, no,
Yeah,
I
you
did select.
go
I
into
just can't see
wireframe
it.
to select.
Okay.
Well, you don't have both of your faces selected, so you might wanna do that unless if you want your duck to have half an eye. If you're struggling to see what's going on in the subdivision modifier, if you go back to solid mode and you go over to your modifiers on the right there, there's like a little monitor icon. The one just to the right of that. If you click that, it'll take off the subdivision modifier, so you can see in the mesh a little bit better. If you go back into tab, there you can now you can click both faces easily. And then if you go back to that, even in edit mode, you can toggle that on and off. So you can
nice.
see.
So even though it doesn't show selected, I know that it is. Okay, and now I extrude it EY this way?
Yep.
Okay. All right, we're in. I have eyes. I have one eye.
You have one eye. Yes, you noticed the problem. You only have one eye.
Is this where
All right,
we
well,
mirror it to the other side?
No, we forgot the other eye. We're doomed. We're just gonna have to start over. No, of course we mirror it to the other side. Okay, I told you we are going to use a mirror modifier earlier. So if you go into edit mode and you go to your front view with the tilde key or the number pad 1, and you go into vertex select mode, so the dot up there, you can see, oh no, that's not right. We need to mirror this. To do that, you want to go into wireframe mode, which is perfect. You just went there. You want to hit A twice so that you deselect everything, because you don't want to have things selected that you don't want to have. Now, by default, you already have the box select tool selected. It's up in the top left there.
Yes. Okay.
So if you click and drag while in wireframe mode, you can select all of the vertices on the left side of the mesh. You actually don't want to select the middle ones.
Oh, okay. So everything
just want
but
to
the
select everyone but the middle. And then if you hit the X button, you can delete vertices.
Okay.
Now you've cut your duck in half. And this is where I leave you.
And half of his big brain.
No.
Now he's just a normal brain duck. Okay.
One normal brain duck. The way we fix this is to go over to the modifier. The way we fix this is to go over to the modifier panel and hit add modifier at the top there like we did before.
Is it mirror?
And go to mirror. Yep.
Hey.
Boom. Now, if we go to solid, you might notice your duck's looking a little pointy. The order in which your modifiers are set up will affect the shape and look of them. So if you
Gotcha.
click the mirror modifier up in the top right, there's like a little six little dots or 8 little dots. You can drag it up above, and that'll make the mirror modifier apply before the subsurface modifier.
Now, what if I wanted to change the shape of the eye? What if I think this
Yeah.
eye is like too wide?
Yeah, your eye is looking a little hideous. I'm not gonna lie. What you can do is, if I were you, just to make this easy to select, I would go into wireframe mode. I would go into the front view. Now, if you hit the C key while in edit mode, you will have this nifty tool, which is a circle select. And if you use a scroll wheel, if you have a scroll wheel, I don't know how to do this.
I have a scroll wheel.
Okay. But if you have a scroll wheel, you can change the size of that. And then when you click, it will select vertices.
Okay.
So you can just go around in a ring, select them all, and if you are using, if you're in vertex mode, you can right-click like we did earlier. Instead of subdividing, you can go down and there's a smooth vertices option.
Hey.
And you can do that as many times as you want to make it as smooth as you want. I think 1 is fine.
Very small. Huh? Artistic freedom? Question mark?
It looks like something.
That was the nicest thing you've said to me.
Oh.
If you want to manipulate just like one specific part of that, you can go back into the wireframe mode and select just like one of the corners and drag it around that way. 'Cause, like your top
Cool.
corner there is really high.
Yeah. Look.
Just the duck head, it does not make a duck. We're going to want a duck body. The good news is the duck body is really straightforward.
Okay.
So you're in object mode. I personally would do this in a different object just because it makes it easier. We can always join it later.
Okay.
So if you want to hit Shift A and add in a new mesh.
Okay. Shift A. Cube? Mesh?
Yep.
Cube. Okay.
Now you'll notice that that's kind of positioned weird. So I would go into edit mode here with the tab key and drag that back, GY, and then drag it down a little bit, GZ. We'll scale it and move it properly later. But you're probably going to want to add in your subsurface modifier really quickly. And now your duck bodies are a little longer than they are wide, so I would scale along the y-axis. And now you got a little bit bigger one, and then I'd scale that up to be about the size that you want. You can do it on all axes to begin with, and then kind of position it.
And now it's time to bring it in. Now, when I'm looking at, again, more surgery, do I look for where visually the edge of the body is here, or the top of the cube that I've subdivided? So like if I press G and Z to bring it up, do I go like all the way up here to where it like the visual intersects, or do I bring it to where the line of the cube intersects?
You're going to want to go based off of the visuals of the gray sort of not quite a circle there.
Gotcha.
Sphere. Because by the end of this process, we're going to apply all of our modifiers, so it'll look like we did at the beginning when you applied it.
I see.
I see you moved it on the x-axis. Did you move it on the x-axis?
Darn it, I did move it on the x-axis. I'm not supposed to because we have the dummies hidden.
Well, and also when you mirror it later, you might not want to do that.
Okay.
Now you can undo it like you did, or we can always fix it later. If that ever does happen, you can always fix it another way.
Got it. Okay. So, but the x-axis is dangerous. Okay.
Are you going to have a big brain duck with a tiny body?
That is the goal.
So now we're going to want to subdivide it. If we're going to want to give it wings, we're going to want to subdivide it again like we did with the head. So right-click and then subdivide.
Subdivide. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's so big.
Well, you can scale them down.
Since, surgery, is it okay if I intersect these? So like if I move it all the way up in here, right? because I'm looking at this line. I like how the head is intersecting with the body. Is that okay? Even though
Absolutely.
it's like,
Yep,
okay.
absolutely, yeah. As long as it's you know, what you want it to look like, and it's watertight, which is to say you don't have any like open faces, it should be fine.
I want to flatten this like proud duck chest here. I want to make this more straight.
Yeah, so if you select those faces again, like you had them selected, you can, how I would do that is I would scale it along the y-axis.
Ah, you're so smart.
And if that's still not looking quite what you wanted, if you add in an edge loop on the horizontal there and turn your camera to the side, what I was meaning is on the section just behind the front of your duck.
Oh, I see.
Remember how
over
we
here.
did it like the beak? Yeah.
Yeah. And then and then you bring it in closer. Look at that.
Yeah, and that'll make like a flatter surface for you.
Wow, 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 wow.
Which actually helps us with the wings now, because we need a little more structure. Sometimes you need a little more geometry. Your duck is looking really good. Well, you know.
I was like, I don't know if you mean that.
It's in the eye of the beholder, but functionally, it's looking pretty good.
Oh, we got a functional 5-head duck here. We're ready. Okay.
So in order to add in your wings, I would select the back 4 faces you have there, and just hit E to extrude, and bring that out on the x-axis a little bit. And that'll give you some definition. I would only do it a little bit, but you know, that's just me. If you want your duck to have some thick wings, you can have them have thick wings.
Thick wings. Okay. So like here. Okay.
And if you want to give your duck some additional flair, if you look at the back there and select the back 2 surfaces and extrude those out, you can kind of have the wings come out away from the...
Oh, shoot.
Oh, no.
Oh, extrude.
There you go.
Are these creases okay? This looks like scary.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
It looks good to me. If you hit G and then X, you can actually bring it a little closer to the body, which will give it a nice little curve.
Wow. Look at that.
And then if you scale on the Z axis, it'll round out even better.
Wow.
And if you think that's not a very advanced technique, my best-selling duck was made the same way.
I mean, judging off the wows, I think my mind's sufficiently blown for what you're downplaying. But sure. That's
just
so
wait.
cool.
When you do this for like a year, you're gonna look back on this tutorial and be like, man, these guys are terrible.
I don't know. This is pretty great. Now, okay, hey, let's say I'm doing this, and my artistic freedom has gotten in the way so much that I have now decided that this beak is too big, and I want the beak to be smaller, right? But that's now on a different cube, and I've already spent some time making it the way that it is. Well, how do I like go about fixing it if I changed my mind in a way that is like non-destructive or makes sense or is like flexible? Is there a way to like do that? Or is it just start grabbing stuff and moving it till you like it?
That's the joy of Blender is it's basically you just you manipulate things until you get them to how you like them. And if you don't like them, you can either start over with Ed, or you can manipulate what you have. And it's all just selecting faces, scaling them, moving them, rotating them. And I'm glad that you brought this up, because you'll notice that your duck is coming apart at the seams. That doesn't look right. That's not good.
No.
Your alien duck has become a bug duck.
This is now a terrifying horror.
Well, it was a terrifying horror before. It's only...
Okay,
No,
keep lying to
don't
me. Okay, so this is because of the mirror modifier, right? So I changed the mirror modifier was great when I didn't want to change things, but as soon as I want to change things off the x-axis or like make it look different, now what?
The easiest thing you can do is to go over to the right there and hit the clipping checkbox on the mirror modifier. Right above merge, right
there
under.
it is. Okay, clipping.
And that will stop you from being able to, any vertices that are in the middle there won't be able to be pulled away. Specifically, it is making any vertice that's along the y-axis there stick to the other side, so that when you pull them, if you like pull along the x-axis or even scaling, like you'll notice it can never come undone. Now, if you move things too close to that, it can cause problems. So I'd recommend not like once you get it set up, not getting anything too close to the other side. Like if you just drug that over to the left, it would end up, yeah, that's no good. You don't want that. So that's the limitation. And if you do want to like mess around on both sides or make it asymmetric, you'll have to apply the modifier. So at this point, we're pretty close to being finished.
Okay.
We need to go over a couple of things. The first thing is you're going to want to mirror your body before we move on.
Okay.
As soon as you're done making beauty.
Yeah. As soon as I'm done making art. All right,
Yeah.
Our recording session is 2 hours over now. We've been watching ducks work for 3 days.
It looks exactly the same.
It's funny, we joke about that, but I have had that happen where I work on something for hours. Like I'm like, oh, this would look better, only to end up basically in the same spot.
Yeah, I've done that too. Be like, hey, Reverse, how's this looking? And he's like, what? Did you change anything? And I
And then you just die inside. Yeah, you're just grieving the lost time. All right. Okay. So now we have the body, and we need to do the mirror thing. So if I go front, wireframe, M. No wait, that's merging. AA. This is like a quiz. AA to select everything, and then A again
you're doing
to get
good.
rid of it. Pressing W cycles through the selection of clicking stuff, and I'm going to go until I get select box. Delete everything but the middle vertices by selecting and pressing X on vertices. And then now with this selected, actually, I don't need to select it because the cube one is already here. I have the modifier, which is mirror, and then I drag it on top of the subdivision, and there it is.
And the best part is now both of your objects are the same as far as modifiers are concerned. So if you shift select the head of the duck,
Okay.
while you
Shift
also have the
select.
body selected,
Okay.
and you hit the Control and J,
Okay.
now
Ah!
your duck is one piece.
Ah! There it is! One piece duck!
All right, so couple more tips before we get to the texturing phase. We need to still UV unwrap this thing, and we need to make it smooth. Unless if you're going for a low poly look, your duck looks a little flat. So let's start with making it smooth. So go ahead and select your duck, and right click in object mode. If you right click, shade smooth by angles should be it.
All right.
Now, if you go down into your bottom left there, that obviously looks cattywampus. We don't like that. So go down to the bottom there. It defaults to 30. If you set that to 180, it will make all surfaces smooth.
Oh, it's terrifying! Stop it! Bring it back!
It is terrifying. Don't worry, it'll get better. Don't worry, we'll fix it. This is the point in which I fear, because I always think I like the way that it looks, and then I apply things, and then maybe if I want to make a change or go back, that can be hard to do after you apply your modifiers. So what I like to do at this stage before I apply my modifiers is to make a duplicate of the mesh. So in object mode, if you select it and then hit Shift D, it'll make a copy.
And then I can just drag it over.
And then
this
you
way.
can move it over, and then you can hide it. You won't need it.
Okay.
So now you have a backup in case if you end up needing to go back. You have a backup duck.
Got it. Okay.
Because once you apply the modifiers, they can be a little hard to go back to.
Okay.
So, but if you like the look of your duck, you can go over to the side panel, and like we did before, hovering over the modifiers, you can hit Control A, and it'll apply them.
Okay. And that's what I want to do now on this duck.
Yep. Correct.
Boom, it's applied.
You also want to do that with the subdivision modifier.
Boom, it's also applied. I guess my concern is it looks like a skin duck. Like it looks way too realistic for like the cartoony, cutie little ducky I was going for. I'm scared.
Well, I think the big part of that is the eyes. The good news is we can make those eyes a lot sharper. So if you hit Tab.
Okay. Oh my gosh, there's a lot. Because we applied them. That makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. Now we're able to edit each face a little more granularly. So what we want to do is we want to select the edge loops
Okay.
that that we want to make sharp. So I would do like right at the base of the eye. If you go into edge select mode and then hit Alt and left click, I would do it at the top because you can see it better.
Okay.
Yeah, I would actually select the one even lower than that because you want it
Okay.
you want it as close to like the edge of your eye. And
Got it.
now if you hit Control and E, it'll pop up an edge menu.
Okay.
Down near the bottom, you can hit Mark Sharp,
Okay.
and that will mark that area sharp. And if
Oh,
you go
that
back in
helps.
object mode, it's a little better. Yeah, you can see on the left, which because we're not mirroring it right now, you can see the difference.
Yeah. Okay. So what would happen if I did this? If I made this one also sharp?
Giving it a little bit of eyebrows. Yes. So that's the neat thing is you can use that tool to make edges like really sharp in the lighting.
What was that button?
And so you can use that
Control
would be Control E.
Okay.
You gave yourself a little eyebrow.
I guess this is kind of the fear thing we were talking about. I'm like, uh-oh, I want this to like be shaped inward like a little nose. I want to do this. But I've already applied the modifiers, and now I'm just directly moving the, faces. Is this the point where I would go, stop, bring it back, bring back the duplicate, get your little nose shape right, and then like do that?
Yeah,
Or-
if you really wanted to make a major change, I would suggest doing that. You can manipulate it from here, but like you'll notice it's going to be a little harder to do that. You're going to have a little bit more of a difficult time. So this is one of those things that you build up over time as an instinct of like, okay, well, maybe I want things to look different.
Well, this is your artistic imperfection, five-head duck. All right, you're gonna like it. It's gonna stay there. All right, okay. So I marked sharp. What I wanted to mark sharp, I think.
Yeah. This would be a good time to mirror the duck, just so that it's easier to unwrap it, and also you don't want one eye to be sharp and the other one not to. So as we know, wireframe.
Front.
Okay, so UV unwrapping is how we tell the image to layer over the colors and everything. It'll make more sense once I show you. So what you're going to want to do is go up to the UV editing tab on the
Okay.
top there.
Bop.
There you go. Now, if you select your whole duck, you're going to see some panels and stuff.
Yeah.
This is a mess. If you were to try to make a texture for this right now, it wouldn't go well. So what we want to do is we want to unwrap this so that it looks kind of like an unwrapped candy wrapper.
Okay, makes sense.
And in order to do that, we're going to have to do some, like we marked sharp, we're going to have to do that both seams. So
Okay.
the natural place to start is with the eye
Okay.
already where you made those sharp marks. If you
Mhm.
select that again,
Okay.
the edge loop there, not that one where you made the eyebrow, but like right
This
around
one?
the eyes. If you
Okay.
hit Control E and hit mark seam,
Oh, here it is.
which is right above mark sharp, now that's going to be, that red line is essentially saying when you unwrap this,
Uh-huh.
that part will be separate from the part.
Oh, okay. So this is like,
Yeah.
okay, so I know the eye's going to be a color. I know or at least a section. I know that, maybe the beak should be a section. Maybe, everything
And
else.
we're probably going to do the texture work pretty simple for this one, and you can get more granular. But
Mhm.
like that's how I think of it too. Is like, okay, the eye isn't going to be the same color as the head, and the duck isn't going to be, or the beak is not going to be the same color as the head. And so we want to separate out the eye and the beak.
Got it.
Uh,
Okay. So then now do I just go down
so-
on an edge and just like kind of trace it around and see like
Yep,
where
you can just select the edge loop just like what you did there, and go ahead and hit go ahead and go into wire mode because I don't know if you selected the stuff on the inside, and I don't know how much you want to do. Okay, yeah, it looks like you did select the stuff on the inside, which is great.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
So now your beak is set up.
Cool. And then I guess I'll do the wing just in case, because what if the wing should have like stuff on it?
Yes, and also if you don't do this, the unwrap will come out all weird. But I think actually you've instinctively done exactly what you should do, which is now everything's kind of separate. So if you select everything,
Okay.
and you hit U. That is the hotkey for unwrapping. Now, you do have to do that in the right panel. If you did that on the other side, you can still unwrap, but like it'll have different menus. So
Interesting. Okay.
if you hit unwrap, oops,
And the left side.
Right on. Yeah, it'll you can still unwrap from the left side, but keep
It's
in
not
mind
working.
like it'll have different context menus.
It's
Oh,
not
maybe you
working.
can't. So go to the right side then and try unwrapping from there.
Hey, it worked.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Okay. It doesn't matter that this is
There-
like perfectly lined up to the edge of this little square here.
No. So if you zoom out, I can explain that window a little bit. Basically, that square is an image. In order to make your duck have color, we're going to make a separate image in a separate program, which Madison will explain.
Okay.
And basically, all we're doing here is we're providing a map for where colors and stuff go. So in the bottom left, the biggest area you have there is the head.
You know, if you click on it, is it dynamically like it'll show up like?
So there is an option for that. Right now, it's I don't know what this is called off the top of my head. I use it, but I don't know what it's called. So what you're thinking of is UV sync selection. So if you go to the top there, there's like 2 arrows pointing in different directions. I don't know why that's the button, but it is to the left, kind of up where your edge select would have been.
Oh, here.
Yeah. So if you select that, what that's going to do is anything you select
Oh, look at that.
will select on the other window. And there's reasons to want to be in both of the different ones, but what's neat is if you select the one of the islands in the bottom left there, and now you go over here and you hit the Control L button on the right menu, on the right side, it will select by what's linked.
Got it.
And by default, it won't go over seams. So you'll notice like you're only selecting the body there.
That's pretty cool. Now, where's my eyeball?
Now, a lot of people hate unwrapping because they find it tedious, but I kind of like it. Now all you're going to do is you're going to take the separate parts of your mesh there, and you're going to want to array them in that box in the most optimal way.
Okay.
So what I like to do is I actually like to select everything. And
Oh,
hit
you can just
G.
take it outside the bounds. You can just.
Yeah, you can take it outside the bounds. Now, if you were to upload it like this, this would come out a disaster. You don't want them to be outside the bounds when you're done. But for starters, when you're arranging it, I like to have them all outside so that there's nothing overlapping.
Got it.
And then you can select your head, and you can drag it down into the box.
Can I?
That's
if I
the
press
body.
R,
It
does it
doesn't matter.
rotate? Oh,
Yes.
so I can just like, and this doesn't matter, technically? Question mark. When I say doesn't matter,
Yeah,
I mean I can rotate this and like,
Yeah.
it's not causing damage.
Generally, I like to keep things rotated kind of like they would be.
Like
So
they
like
would
if you
be.
select the head, which is yeah, you
Here.
can select it on the right panel or even on the left panel there.
Yeah.
You kind of notice like the eye is where the hole is up there. So
Yeah.
I would rotate that to the left, and I'd even go a little bit more to the right now, so that it's like,
Oh, so you're trying to like
You
make
have
it look that way.
yeah, I try to have it kind of look in the direction you would think of. This isn't a necessary thing, but it's helpful, especially if you're working with another person. Like I work with Madison to do the UV work. It's useful to have it oriented in a certain way. You actually position that perfectly. I was kind of hoping you would make a mistake so I could explain it. But
Thanks.
you don't want to be too close to the edges. If you get too close to the edges, there's like bleed over and you can have some weirdness. So you want to
Okay.
give all of your UV islands some space,
Got
and
it.
then you want to give everything a space from the edges. So you did a great
Okay.
job.
Yay!
And
gold
now
star.
you just want to do that with everything.
Okay.
You can
Okay.
scale it based on whatever you think is going to have more details. And so what's usually going to happen is like if you select your eye, the default unwrap is Blender is trying to make everything kind of a uniform scale, but
Yeah.
with the eye, you might want to have more details. So I like to scale up the eye so it's more of the mesh. Whereas like the mouth, I don't really care as much about. I usually keep the mouths rather small.
Yeah. Okay. And this is
You are going to want
command
to move
L.
those 2 parts of the mouth away from each other a little bit because they're a little on the close side. There you go.
And a lot of this will make more sense after we do texture some of it, of, you know, why you want some things bigger than others and why you want things like more separated than others.
Cool. Okay. All right. This is what I ended up with.
And that's it. You've got your duck unwrapped. It's ready to be textured. There's only one other thing that I like to do before I go on to texturing.
Okay.
And that is to make sure that the mesh itself is within Roblox's boundaries.
Okay.
So specifically the boundaries I'm referring to is how many vertices that there are. Well, triangles now. And there's documentation for that, which will go up on the screen, I'm sure, as soon as I can find it.
Movie magic!
The number of triangles you can have is 4,000 triangles.
Okay.
You usually want to get as low as possible while it still looks good. But in order to check that, down, or I guess up where we found the backface culling, if you go to the left, there's like 2 circles that are overlapping, and one of them's solid and one of them's not.
Yeah.
That menu, under scale, text info, statistics, if you check that statistics box, it will show you.
1, 2, 3, 2 triangles.
It's amazing. We have the same number of triangles on our ducks.
Wait, do we actually?
Yeah, and I thought you did more. So your duck is more or less good to go.
Okay.
Now all you have to do is texture it, and then we have to set it up on the body, and then publish it to Studio.
All right. Perfect. All right. Hard cut to texturing. Video end.